a certain survey. And I thought it was fascinating, right? Because our point today is about offering high quality virtual CTE instruction for a virtual world. So thank you so much. So may I take this moment to see if our Department of Ed friends, they've joined us to tag team with us to provide these sessions. I think I saw Mr. Elliott online. Are you here, Tim, to say hi?
Yes, I am. Hi, my name is Timothy Elliott. I work in the Office of Career Tech Education, and I get to assist the AV, IT, and Robotics Program of Study. And this is my second week a part of the SRAB. Last week was amazing, so I'm excited to be a part of it this week.
Awesome. Thank you, Tim, so much for joining us. How about Pat? Do we have Pat Gibbons with us?
Hi. Yes, I'm Pat Gibbons with WVDE.
That's adorable. Thank you, Pat. There she is in her giggles. That's great. I think she's actually at the office too. Right. Great to see you, Pat. Thank you for joining us. Appreciate that. And how about Miss Tammy Maynard?
Yes, I'm here. Hello. I'm Tammy Maynard. I work in the Office of Career Technical Education with the Hospitality and Tourism Careers and Education Programs of Study.
Awesome. Great to have you, Miss Maynard. Yes, and you've got your chef talents with you here this morning, right? From James Rumsey and your early childhood, or you work with all that, right?
I hope so.
Yeah. Yes, you do. That's great. Thank you very much for joining us. If there's anyone else from the Department of Ed that would like to jump in, please do at this point. Did I miss anyone?
I think I saw Mr. Gilman come in.
All right. Mr. Gilman, are you with us to say hello, or before we dive deep?
Hi, everybody. I'm here. I'm here to listen. I'm here to learn just like everybody else. If you guys need anything, let me know, but you guys rock on.
Great. Thank you so much. Thanks for joining us. Hey, listen, I thought this was a really interesting thing. So yesterday, we're doing this other work across West Virginia about project-based learning for middle school kids to really fire them up around CTE, to expose them to careers. And we've got this power team out of California, High Tech High. And I thought this was a really cool strategy. So the gentleman who's started the facilitation used his camera as a way for the students to vote. So he would throw something out and then ask his students to turn their camera on if they would vote and say, like, I'm a dog lover. And so people opened up their screens. It was great. It was a lot of fun. I thought that was great. I was going to share that with you. So today, this morning, our quick time together, we are really starting off looking at the big picture and really inviting you to have an opportunity to practice with us, because we know a couple of key things. First off, we know that your talents, that you need time with your students in real time to practice skills, right? You need to be able to they need to work on the lathe. They need to be able to demonstrate that they know how to create a sauce. They need to do those things in real time. So with that being said, we want to help you leverage the time that you have that may not be in real time. It may be when they're not with you, or depending on how your environment works out. We also know the environment this fall is still shifting. We don't know exactly how it's going to land. So we really want to be efficient with helping you think through things, plan things, really look at some tech tools that might be helpful. We vet those and only really work on those that we feel like are value added and that have been tried and true with teachers. So that's part of the big picture. We also know that, that you are in a world of support. We're all learning this together, and you need time. You need time to wrap your head around this. There's also a social emotional aspect to this work, right? Because as Miss Cullen admitted, she's going a little stir crazy with her kids because it's a whole different world. So our students might be experiencing that, and you might be experiencing that as well. So feel free, if there's any other big picture ideas that you feel like we need to take into consideration, feel free to throw those in the chat. We just wanted to know that we're with you on this in the heartbeat. So here's what our session is about. We're going to ask you this morning to participate like a student. So I'm glad that you're all in your own, you're kind of at your control stations. I think we have Connie back from the virtual world as an example. So she's going to be, all of you are going to be asked to participate and play just like a student would. So you can be thinking about, that was interesting. This is what I experienced. Is that what my students are going to experience in our virtual time together? Our goal of this session is to really look at high quality, what makes high quality virtual CTE instruction, and then how can we leverage that to start planning a project or unit or something you can walk away with to use. Deborah, what is in the corner of that slide? Do you see it?
I believe I see a top 10.
Yeah, people, listen, this is exciting. You have an opportunity this week to win prizes. I'm so excited. Let me see if I can toggle from my screen. I don't even know if I can. Freaking, woo, where is it? Oh, okay, awesome. So I'm going to leave the slideshow for just a minute. I want to show you something. So we have cooked up an opportunity for West Virginia only, for West Virginia teachers to engage in a challenge called the Top 10 Things to Consider. So on your action agenda, which we will review in a moment, that Deborah and others are putting in the chat, you will see that there's a link to the top 10 things to consider. If you pull that up, you can save that document for yourself, and you have an opportunity this week to fill it in and play for prizes. So there'll be a drawing for gift cards, gas cards, Amazon cards, you name it. So feel free to play. Okay, feel free to play. That'll be great. So it's right there embedded in your agenda. I wanted to show you that. While I'm here, could I just quickly cruise over here? So you'll notice as the agenda, Deborah and Linda are dropping the link in the chat, that it should open up to show you this. So this is also a technique, right, Deborah, that we use, a teaching technique. It's a strategy that we like to call our action agenda. It's very clean, it's just a simple Google Doc because everything's free in Google, so you can create a Google Doc. This can be used in Teams, this can be used in Zoom. This is one of those kind of efficient moves that we like to do, so we put and build links into everything. If you would like us to work with you afterwards in order to create one of these, we'd be happy to step you through it. But everything your students would need would be on this action agenda that we've created to show you how easy it is to do. Yes.
May I, one of the things I want to add about this action agenda is that this is something we have to remember about our parents being home or whomever is with their students as they are doing virtual learning. You know, parents are going to end up being kind of instructional coaches. And so not only for the students, but for the parents or grandparents or babysitters or whomever it is, they need to have a one-stop shop, a place that they can go back and forth to get those links. So this makes it super easy for the parent and the student to be able to get everything they need for the session that you're having that day.
Thank you so much. Yes, feel free to jump in, folks. I appreciate that so much. So I'm going to toggle back, but I wanted you to see that. And let us know in the chat if you're having problems opening that. You should be able to open it in Google Docs, and it's ready for you to use. So at any point in time today that we're going to do an activity, you should be able to use that as a way to access whatever information you need. All right, so I'm going to present again. So there are some norms on the screen. We do like to set up norms. Simulated workplace businesses also set up norms, right? Ways that they work together. Take a moment, have you soak those in, and feel free to add in the chat. It's our favorite tool if you would like to add anything about norms. Have we seen anything in the chat, or is everybody good?
Thus far, people, the only response we have is looks good.
Thank you, whoever said that. That's great. Yeah, and we've highlighted
West Virginia. We go ahead and just make sure that you even know it's good. We don't want to have to necessarily complain. We want to say yes, good job.
Yes, absolutely. That's great. So notice what's highlighted on here: sharing your effective practices. Because we know we've got talents on this session. We know many of you and know what you bring to the table. So please feel free to do that. And we know that Department of Ed folks, man, they're on fire with teams. So if you want to set up, they'd be happy to set up sessions on how all of this right, that we're doing is on Zoom because we can come to you on Zoom. And this is similar to how you would use Teams with your students to set up and navigate. And so Mr. Elliott and his colleagues have offered very kindly, they've offered anytime you want to set up some help sessions, please feel free, because we want to make sure that we know you're a Teams group as well. So thank you for that.
Kathleen, I want to
All
ask,
right.
is anyone else having any trouble getting the action agenda? Skip is having some trouble, and I wanted to see if anybody else is having any trouble getting. Okay.
Okay.
So there
So
are a few
should
people
you-
who are having trouble.
Okay. So can they get the link if we drop the link in the chat? Can they open it up from the link? Help us out. One of you unmute and let us know
Tell
what's
me
going
what
on.
the problem is very quickly, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, be great.
Would it help if I emailed it to our JRTI staff?
Maybe they have.
Sure, Donna. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
that would be great, Donna, if you could do that real quick. Yes, Skip says that would be helpful.
Okay. Thank you, Donna.
Okay.
Appreciate that. It's a team effort.
Sometimes.
That's great. All right. So we're going to take a quick moment for a facilitation technique. We're going to ask you, because we have an opportunity to have you in breakouts, working in breakouts today. So if there's an opportunity to put you in cluster groups or groups that might make sense, we want to know where you would like to go. So in terms of what cluster industry cluster you would identify with, or if you were an academic talent, you might want to work with a certain cluster. So you get to choose this morning. So we're going to ask you to use a technique called renaming, and you can do that through Zoom. It's a function that lets you rename yourself. So how you do that, let me demonstrate how you do that first, and then we can show you what we're going to ask you to rename yourself. If you hover over your picture, that tends to be one way you can do it. You should see a blue mute option, and you should also see 3 dots or ellipses, right up in the, whoops, over there, right there. So if you click on those ellipses, you should see an option that says rename. All right, so let's see. Do that. If I rename myself, and then your thing will pop up, and I could put anything I want in there, right? Well, within reason. So this is a great technique also to have your students renaming themselves based on their roles, etc. So if I would put in a name, and then you hit OK, and it should change your name. So there you go. All right. So we're going to ask you to do that. We're going to ask you to take a moment and rename yourself. So on your action agenda, and I might even have this in a slide. Let's see if I do. I hope I was, yeah, I did put it on a slide. You'll see on the screen that we gave these little kind of initials to help recognize the different industry clusters. So Dr. Floyd and her logic, I love her mind, has helped me to set this up. So if you'll take a look at those, we're going to ask you to decide where you want to be in terms of a cluster today, and then use the rename function. Yep. And
some people on iPads cannot do that. So another little info piece, the host can do that. So if one of your students is having trouble, you can actually rename them for them. So if anyone's having trouble renaming themselves, put it in the chat and I will rename you for you. Rename you for you. Yes.
Excellent. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Yeah. So, so is that your screen, Deborah? I'm sorry, that was me. Sorry about that. So yes, so feel free, right? Like if Brian is on his iPad and he wants to throw that in the chat, we can rename you. So take a moment and look at the, on the screen and see which ones you like. And then let's take a moment and see who's having any issues with renaming themselves.
And while you are browsing those, this is also a great way to identify the people who are in your meetings in simulated workplace, so that you can have them even like rename themselves their jobs or whatever if they're actually holding one of their business meetings or company meetings.
Awesome.
So Kathleen, while they're renaming themselves, if they would use that, the acronym that we've created, and then type their name, because if they do a long one, then their name doesn't show in their picture, and then I won't be able to call them by name.
Yeah, so for example, if we could ask Amy, if you don't mind, Amy, like she's a perfect example. So she's going to be in education and training. If there, thank you, that was awesome. It's like she read my mind. Oh, she's such a talent. So she just flipped it for us, right? So if you could put your, thank you, perfect, Bob, IT, ITS for chef, perfect, perfect. Thank you, Jesse. Awesome. Manufacturing and STEM, looking good, looking good. All right. And the Department of Ed folks, please feel free. So like Miss Maynard, if she wants to join her hospitality folks, if she can use a code as well. So I need to pull those back up, right? Because that's not, you're not seeing those right now, are you? Let's see. There we go. All right. Perfect. Okay, thank you for renaming. Sorry. Thank you for renaming yourself. Appreciate that. All right, let me see if anybody, can you give me a thumbs up if you can see my screen? We're doing well. All right, great. Okay, so some help options, you've already used them. It's awesome. Feel free to either shout out, or Linda and Deborah are right on hand. And Marty, oh, excuse me, I think Marty joined us. Good morning, Marty. So he is also here to help. We also have Tim, Pat, and Tammy. So lots of folks out there and notice that I think there is an option for privately chatting. So keeping in mind, if you notice where you go and put chats in the chat box, there is a to everyone. I think that is basically the default. It goes to everyone, but you can use the little arrow and change that to send anybody in the session a private message. A quick rule of thumb, and this is good for students too, because you can control the chat as the teacher, as the person with power. You can turn chats on and off. Also, it's a good thing to let folks know that if you are chatting privately, those do show up, the private chats do show up as part of the report at the end of the meeting. You can save chats. So if you have learning going on and you want to use that for formative assessment to see where your students are struggling, if they're weighing in, you can save those chats as opportunities to study later on. And let me know, colleagues, if you want to say more about the chat. Appreciate that. All right. So I think, and Deborah, let me know if anybody, or Linda, if folks are still having trouble with the agenda. So it'd be great if they could get the agenda. All right. So our mission this morning, here we go. All right. So our mission is to capitalize on what you know makes high quality CTE instruction in general, just because you know, and you folks come from high flying sites, right? And then how can we leverage that for virtual or remote learning? So our goal is to figure that out and practice being a student. Here are some sessions that are being offered this week. So all of them are going to build on each other and give you opportunities like a student to practice. And we're bringing in more tech tools. We have one this morning to share with you that we're going to ask you to play with. So every day there's a rhythm of having you explore, having you try some tools, and really thinking about and starting to move it into your instruction. All right, so here's our goals. I'm not gonna say any more about that because I think we've covered that. Let's jump in and start with some annotation. That'd be awesome. Whoa, somebody's annotating. So quickly, if you are, you should be seeing a green bar, if it's up at the top, that might say you're viewing Kathleen's screen, and there should be a view options next to it. It could be at the top or the bottom, depending on where you are. And Brian, let us know if you can do this on the iPad. If not, we might troubleshoot with you. So you should pull that down. If you pull that down, you'll see the second bar, which are the options that give you for annotation. And I'm gonna ask you to take a minute. We tried this yesterday. Now we have some different tools on here today. I'm gonna ask everybody to take a moment and use your annotate function, a stamp or your initial or something. Thank you, there's stars coming in. And I want you to vote, kind of rank where you are from, are you brand new to this, like you don't know what that is, to I'm super sailing on this, Kathleen, move over. You need to give me the reins. That'd be awesome. So take a minute on all those tools, and then I'll ask Deborah to weigh in on where we're seeing.
That was actually
I need to mute myself.
That was actually me annotating on the last slide because I saw a top 10 thing and I was just kind of pointing it out.
Oh, great. That's awesome. Excuse me while I yell at my son for just a second, folks.
Sure. I just had to tell my my son's soccer coach I couldn't bring him to practice because I forgot I was on a Zoom. I wish I could virtually drive my kids to things too. That'd be great.
Yeah, virtual is full.
All right, thank you.
Yes, yes. Kathleen, it looks
That's
as if
awesome.
I'm getting a lot. I think we have almost a split between beginner and expert, believe it or not.
I know, that's awesome. Unless we have, right, and we might have folks that are just happy annotators too. That's great. They love the annotation. I love it, love it, love it. That's great. Thank you so much. So you're right. So we've got some folks that are just kind of getting their feet wet. Especially I think around Padlet, which is going to be a tool that we're using today, which is a really fun, easy, friendly online bulletin board. It's a virtual bulletin board that students can use to rally, which is great. So thank you so much. So so there, you control the person who's driving will control the annotation and we'll be able to clean that up. So Deborah, would you mind doing that as the host? You'll be able to stop and clean it up.
Certainly.
Appreciate that. And I think we have one more annotation.
Also, I want to say that when you do this, you also have the option of saving this picture. So if this is something that you would like to save and put on your Google Classroom or into Teams Classroom or whatever, you can save this for kids who've missed it, or if you want to do something with it later.
Awesome. And one more annotation feature, and then I'm going to turn it over to Linda right after this. If we can clear up, there we go. Okay. So I just want to see real fast. Oh, I love West Virginia. So on the screen are scenes from like the amazing West Virginia scene. And I want you to vote on which one do you think really shows the spirit of West Virginia in your mind? Like which one is your favorite? Bam, go and vote. I love it.
That's the Mothman.
Yeah, we'll see if the man gets any votes, the man with the wings. I love it, love it, love it. All right. Some love coming in for, oh yeah, New River Gorge, beautiful, beautiful. I'm seeing some voting, right, for the outdoor scenes, the scene, you know, it's just, oh, it's such a gorgeous state. Love it, love it.
It
All
really
right.
is a beautiful state.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thanks for playing with annotation. Somebody even liked George Washington's bathtub, because it's near you. Berkeley Springs, gotta love it. Man, that's good for your soul, isn't it, that place? Well, thanks for playing. All right. So Linda, I'm gonna stop share if I may, and I'm gonna turn the reins over to you. Appreciate very much the opportunity for me to kick this off. And I will see you folks in just a little while. I have to go start a group from California working with the middle schools in West Virginia. So Linda, Deborah, Marty, thank you. Bye, folks. I'll be
Love
back.
you.
Great to see you all.
So, thank you for allowing me the opportunity here, and let me get this turned on. Sorry. Can you let me, there you go. So can you, let me change my display here. Okay, can you see my screen now? Hold on. I'm having trouble with my, hold on, with my sound.
Yeah, it's just in presentation mode.
Yeah, let me, so do you see the slide?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know. Sorry. I thought
Well,
you,
it's up in the top. It's just up in the top left-hand corner, but most of the screen's black because it's in presentation mode.
on my screen, I'm seeing the whole thing. So that's strange. Let me change the display settings. Did that make a difference?
Yes.
Okay. It was
You're back
with
in.
my dual screens. I had it on the wrong screen.
You are cooking with gas now, sister.
Great. So let me make sure that I get back to where she was. This is so with we're going to, where did she leave off here? Breakout rooms, what's in the name? Let me find the West Virginia's.
The annotation.
There you go. So what did we have on there, Deb, on the annotation?
Well, she already, so since it's yours, the annotation wasn't saved there.
Did you gather what they were putting in?
Yeah,
That
I mean, yeah, people were putting all kinds of different things around the state. The New River Gorge Bridge, one voted for George Washington's bathtub. There were Seneca Rocks, the Mothman, lots of different things. So it was kind of always just around the state.
These are beautiful pictures of West Virginia, many that I didn't even realize were in West Virginia. I mean, you all have such a diverse area. So I appreciate her giving the opportunity for that. I noticed in the last session last week, most actually put in what they, what was close to them. So we appreciate that opportunity. So next we have another activity and collaborating in breakout rooms. So for this next activity, we're going to be giving you a breakout room, and I want to remind you, pay attention to what your breakout room ID number, and sometimes we'll name those. So Deb is going to be running the breakout rooms today. That's why it helps to have someone to assist, because they can actually be running the breakout rooms while you're talking, trying to deliver the lecture or whatever the session. So we're going to move on, and the two options that you have for the breakout room, you have the invite the host. If you get in there and you have a question, you can actually ask for help by inviting the host. What happens then, the message will go to the host, which in this case will be Deb, and she will be able to put somebody else in the room to help you, or she'll be able to go and help you. So if she's in a room helping and you do invite host, then you'll get a message that says the host is busy. So you'll know they're in another room, but that's okay. Somebody else will be able to help you, because then it will switch to someone else. So I see we're still annotating there. Thank you for sharing. And we also have in the breakout room where you will get a message. If you see here, you will actually get a message that says, join the breakout room. Until you hit that, you will stay in the main room. So as soon as you get that, if you will please hit this button, join the breakout room, that will take you directly to the breakout room to be with your group. And once you're in there, then that's when you would see invite the host to help you. So let's go on and I'll show you. So here we have the team roles. No, yes, there is a pun intended with the roles over there. You will be in your breakout rooms this time. The only thing you will be doing is picking who will be the group facilitator or the captain of the team. The techno scribe, this is the individual that will need to access the action agenda. So the techno scribe will need to be an individual that has access to that action agenda and be able to share their screen so that those in the group can see what they're doing. Also, the timekeeper, and you will have a reporter. So the reporter will be the individual. When we come back out, that individual will actually be sharing some of the information that you've gleaned in your roles. So with the timekeeper also, you will notice that when we close the breakout rooms, you will have 59 seconds. So use that time to finish up your last thoughts. Just because you see that doesn't mean you have to leave the room. It will automatically call you into the main room. So are there any questions at this point? All you're doing is assigning these 4 team roles. The facilitator, who will keep that group on task. The techno scribe, who's going to be sharing the screen with the others and typing in the information. and then the timekeeper, and then the reporter. Now let's gear up for your breakout rooms. Let's make sure you know your breakout room number once it's assigned to you. Deb, did you assign those by breakout numbers or by names?
They are just going to be names. I mean, numbers, I'm sorry.
Okay. Great. Make sure you get to know your teammates, because this session was offered to everybody across West Virginia, even though I know most of you know each other. Assign your team member jobs, and then the TechnoScribe makes certain that you can access that agenda again. Now, one thing I want you to watch for the messages from the host. Those appear in the very top, and we will send you a message just so you can see what happens. I wish Zoom would make that larger, because sometimes it's ignored and it only stays on there for just a bit, but it's so small in the very top of your screen that sometimes it's missed. So you will return to the main room when prompted, but it will give you 59 seconds. So you can just wait and it will automatically return you to the main room if you want. Now, what does high quality CTE instruction look like? What I would like for you to do now, Debbie, can you put a marker in the chat for this essential question?
Absolutely.
I'm going to give you a few seconds to think about this question. Then I would like for you to enter your response in the chat. What is one element of high quality instruction in your program? And start entering those in. Okay, so we have David Gerda says student engagement. So engagement, absolutely. Jason says project-based learning, PBL, great. Amy says real life experiences. Access to information. Simulated workplace, go Ron. PBL again, simulated workplace. There, it looks like that we have, we're in quite agreement there. Simulated workplace is a big one. And the teamwork, absolutely. Working as teams, which is part of simulated workplace, right? Excellent. Now I want you to think of another question. What does high quality CTE instruction look like in a virtual world? What does it look like in the virtual world? Does your response change?
Stephen, is fair enough. Absolutely. I don't know. That's a fair answer.
Does I see that your responses are very similar. Oh, I like Amy says ability to think outside the box. And yes, if some of us, you know, were thrown into this immediately. So we're all learning together. Student lead, PBL, and simulated workplace again. Creativity. So we have had some additional thoughts here, and this leads us to the exercise that I would like for you to think about. From all of those ideas that were offered in the previous two questions, and we still have some coming out, and yes, Skip says breakout rooms. Yes, and those breakout rooms are much like what we did when we would group students at tables, or when we would have some out in the lab working and we had others in the classroom. So we're going to use the high-tech graphic organizer here. It's really low-tech, but, invite you to think about high-quality virtual instruction. What does it sound like? What does it feel like and look like? You can do this on a sheet of paper and enter your thoughts. So just draw this little diagram, a graphic organizer, on a sheet of paper, and I want you to put something in each of those areas. What does high quality virtual CTE instruction look like? sound like, and feel like. We're going to have some quiet time to allow you to think about that for a minute.
When you annotate, generally if you're typing something on there, it will come up the same place. You do have the ability to drop and drag your texting box so that you can put it all over the place if you want to annotate.
So that quiet time is something I am getting used to, trying to condition myself so that I can do that to give you an opportunity to think, because some of us are not good at multitasking, like trying to think, trying to listen, and trying to write something down. So I see that we have some coming in that are annotating here. Good. So well planned and delivered, excitement and multiple voices, turn taking, open communication between students and instructors. Feels like encouragement. Oh yeah, that emotional support. Very good. That emotional and social support in a virtual world is so important. And we know that the students, they develop such a great relationship with their teachers, their CTE teachers. I know when I was a principal, my CTE teachers were the ones that were always picked as their top, or usually always they were the ones that were picked as the teacher that made the greatest impact in their life. So we would always recognize teachers, and it was usually the CTE teachers that were being recognized in that manner. So that's why we love our CTE teachers, because you develop that relationship. And I want to encourage you to continue to do that, even in this virtual world, if you don't see your students. So I see that we had in looks like well planned and delivered. You can tell if a session is well planned and delivered well. You can tell if somebody's shooting from the hip or if they have it all lined out to deliver well. Very good, very good. Oh, I love the light bulb moment too. Looks like, aha, yeah, that's very good. Sounds like open communication between students and instructors. Oh, excellent, that communication part where that
I love where someone says that everyone's motor is running. Super cool.
Yeah. We love the communication part where the students and the instructors are taking that opportunity to share. And so it's not all about an individual being sage on the stage. Here, you know, you all are communicating via the chat. You're communicating via annotate. So very good. Okay, so we'll clear the screen and we'll move on to the next activity. So what I want you to glean from that activity, I want you to think of three words. Just kind of think about that, because we're going to use those in the next exercise. But before we go there, when you're thinking about high quality instruction, we need to be thinking about this as well, because in this day and age, with this change and this current educational environment that we're in, that we're all in nationwide, we need to think about what the attention span research tells us. As you can see, considering the grade level of students that we work with, we should plan for not more than 12 to 15 minutes of direct instruction without planning participation activity to follow. So you can see we've been in this session about 48 minutes. And as you will notice, we've planned for activities, interaction with you at some point, either through the chat, annotate. We've had several of those activities. And we're going to continue with that. So it keeps individuals engaged. They're not listening to one individual talk for an hour or so. So keep that in mind. We need to consider what this is saying to us in our practice. Look at where you are today. Where do we sit on this chart? As adults, it's 15 to 18 minutes. I'm not sure my attention span's that long. I'll probably fit more in
I
that.
guarantee mine's not. I mean, as soon as I see that, I was thinking, get your motor running. Head out on the highway. I mean, I'm thinking of songs and stuff, people. So absolutely, if we can't do it, they can't.
Yeah, I mean, and we've been trying to do this. We've been more like, you know, every 10 minutes at least. So, and this comes from the Teaching with the Brain in Mind and Teaching in the Fast Lane. So using the research, this is what we're sharing with you. So we always try to incorporate in SREB research on instruction. So make certain that you use this to play a part in how you define virtual instruction. So that's just one idea. Here we have, wow, look at these principles of high quality virtual instruction. This diagram's telling us that it absolutely must provide feedback, collaboration, and it must be well thought out. It must be planned well. We can use this to validate or even add to our thinking. But I want you to walk away with the top 3 ideas that you have for the tenets of high quality virtual instruction, which we will be using in our next activity. We're going to create a word cloud. And I'm going to ask Deb to enter you will go to, at the bottom, you will go, you can do this on your phone. You can do this on your phone. So what we like to do is use tools that allow students to use their laptop, Chrome, notebook, whatever it happens to be that they're using, and maybe another device such as their phone so that they can be multitasking. Students are really good at that. So you will go to www.menti.com. It's at the bottom of your screen. And you will use the code 5578581. And Deb has also entered in the chat a link that you can go directly to. If you use that link, you go directly to that and you won't have to worry about that. So let me go ahead, take a few minutes, go to that. Let us know if you're having any trouble getting in. Okay, Deb, I'm going to my presentation here and I'm going to share my screen again. So let me get to that.
Amy says, what types of words are we selecting?
We're looking for 3 words that will define for you high quality virtual instruction.
Do 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 do.
So, Deb, do you see that on your screen? She did not give me the where I can see the results.
Hold on, let me see if I can get there.
It may be at that link. I'll type that in.
That's to vote.
And see, it's her link, so that's where I'm having,
Okay.
yeah, it's just getting, it's just, the only link she shared with me was to vote.
Let me see if I can get her.
Yeah, see if she can give us the link to get to the words, because she didn't give me the link to hers, and so we won't be able to show it. I apologize. Kathleen delivered this session last week, and then she had to get off today so that she could join another West Virginia meeting. So the owner of the particular activity in Mentimeter, we have to have her account because that's where it was created. So I apologize for that, but while we're waiting to see if she can get a hold of her on that, and she's in a meeting, so she may not.
I can make one real quick.
Yeah, if you don't care to do that, and I will. So this is a good time to point out too, that when you plan for activities, sometimes things do go wrong. And we thought, Kathleen and I had worked on this last night and thought we had it all lined out, but she did not share her link to the Mentimeter. So.
Here's a new one. And you know what, when we do these kinds of things, this is a great place to troubleshoot. So if something goes wrong, and it's always going to go wrong, either in the regular classroom or the virtual classroom, this gives us an opportunity to think, oh my goodness, so let's troubleshoot. So the great thing,
You want
I'm sorry?
You want to put your link in the chat for them?
I did.
Okay.
So what I did, the great thing about having someone else to have your back when you're doing these things, I just went and made another one, and I'm sharing my link now. So if you click on that link, it should take you to Menti. And I'll go ahead and share it. And then, there we go. I see some people doing it already. So Linda, I'm going to share my screen real quick. If you let me do that real quick, yes. And so now we can see people are starting to get in there, and you can see them changing. Thank you for doing a screenshot for us, Jessica. That was really nice. So now they're coming in. And forgive me for words being capitalized. I am an English teacher, and that's making me have fits because I typed it really quickly. Oh, so as these word clouds are coming in, as these words are coming in, you notice, and for those of you who may not know or whatever, the bigger the word, that means the more people have voted for that word. The smaller the word means that, but you're getting everyone's vote. It's just if more people put the same word, then it will come up bigger.
So let's there we go. So we're from this, and the reason that we needed this, because we are going to pick the most prevalent or most dominant words that come up from this. So keep entering your words in there, because we need your feedback so that you're heard in that final selection of what are the 5 words, key words, that we're going to use throughout the rest of this session to define high quality virtual CTE instruction. So I see right now, Deborah, mine may be a little slow over here, but I'm seeing engaging appears to be the number one.
It absolutely does. And that's very exciting.
We talked about several of those, if you recall, in those activities when we were talking about be mindful of the time. When you did your diagram with the Y diagram, where it was, what does it look like, feel like, sound like? Those are some of the words that you've already created some of those. I want you to think about what are those words that mean, that had greater value for you in this. So I think we probably have just about everybody in.
Yeah, I'm seeing probably.
What are the top 5 that you see?
I'm seeing engaging, fun, interactive, authentic. I think probably exciting, which would be kind of fun. So I'm trying to, and creative. Let's do those. So our 5 that I think I'm seeing the most are engaging, fun, interactive, authentic, and creative.
Okay, I need to get to, I'm going to share my screen now and get back to the presentation. Okay. So, and yes, Jessica, thank you for sharing the screenshot. We could have used that. So with Mentimeter, that is a particular tool you can use. I do not have a free one. So when I went there, my 2 were already being used. And so, but I'll tell you how I did overcome that, but I wouldn't have to take time to sign into another one. I've signed up under different emails. So I just have to remember which email address, which email that I use for that particular Mentimeter exercise if you want to do more. Or you could purchase it. It's pretty inexpensive, but I have not purchased that. But that is another tool that you can use, online tool. And so the words that we have, let me go to, now we have synchronous or asynchronous. Now, what I want you to do is think about that. I'm going to show a video. So I'm going to go to the video and I'm going to share. Let me get it started here just a moment. Okay, we have a video that we're going to watch and it's on synchronous and asynchronous. Let me make sure I'm sharing my sound. So let's listen to what synchronous and asynchronous is by John Spencer.
We live in an era of constant digital communication. With the tap of a button, we can share insights and collaborate all over the world. There's a cost. We can easily get distracted and lose our focus. This is why quality communication requires intentionality, and it helps to think about the distinction between synchronous and asynchronous communication tools. Synchronous communication happens in real time, in the moment. By contrast, asynchronous communication can happen over a longer period of time. Synchronous communication might be a video conference, a live chat, or a phone call. Asynchronous communication might be a pre-recorded video, an audio message, or an email. Both synchronous and asynchronous communication have their distinct advantages and disadvantages. Synchronous communication is faster and more dynamic. It's great for active participation in interactive discussions. It tends to work well with smaller groups, but it can lead to frequent interruptions and distractions that get in the way of deep work. With asynchronous communication, there's no need to schedule, which means you can go at your own pace with fewer disruptions. Asynchronous communication works well when the internet connection is unstable or when participants are in different time zones. It also tends to allow for a permanent record of your communication. However, asynchronous communication doesn't work well when you need to address issues in the moment, and it can feel less interactive. Some communication platforms blend together synchronous and asynchronous components. A walkie-talkie app lets you communicate in the moment, but listen later and even adjust the speed. A shared document has real-time edits, but the comments are asynchronous and there is a permanent record of all annotations. Video chats can occur in real time, but then recorded for replay later on. This can help increase accessibility. Meanwhile, social media platforms often blend together live and recorded videos, chats, and updates. Both synchronous and asynchronous communication are necessary for collaborative work. This is why teams should think strategically about when to use both types of communication as they plan for collaborative projects. And educators should be intentional about how they use both approaches to improve student collaboration as well. Hey, thank you for watching this video. Would you do me a favor? If you enjoyed this video, would you click on the like button?
Okay, so I would like for you to think about the synchronous and asynchronous that we just did. And can you see the, is my PowerPoint back up again, or my presentation? Okay, so think about your synchronous, or asynchronous. And let me move to the next slide here. Sorry, once I'm switching from that. So here we have a slide that is showing, it's a review slide of the two terms. And I want you to take a moment to look through these. And we're going to challenge you in the breakout rooms to think about these top 5 ideas of high quality virtual instruction, but from a perspective of synchronous and asynchronous. So the 5 words that we came up with, which were, and if you don't care to, I'll type these into the chat box as okay, are engaging, fun, interactive, authentic, and creative. So those 5 words are going to be very important for you in the next breakout room. So you might want to write those down somewhere, because once we go into the breakout rooms, you will not have access to this same chat until you come back into the main room. So if you want to just highlight those and copy them, then you can paste them into the chat once you're into the breakout room. That could be the Techno Scribe's responsibility, or anyone could do that. But you're going to transfer these to the exercise. So when I do breakout rooms or Deb's going to be doing this, but when we do breakout rooms in Zoom, as the host on the toolbar, you will have a feature that looks like what I have here that says breakout rooms. You do not see that because you are not a host. So you will not see that. And then you will notice at the bottom, it's very simple. Randomly, which is automatically, I have chosen on this slide, it says there will be 6 participants in 2 rooms. So it means I have 12 participants. And I have 6 participants in all, and 3 participants will go in each room. And then you just click the breakout room. And once you do that, then over on the right-hand side, what you see is the list of who's in breakout room 1, who's in breakout room 2. And then Deb would just click open all rooms. So before we go to that, let's review what your breakout room responsibilities are. The Techno Scribe, which you defined, you identified that individual in the last breakout room session.
What else do I need to talk to them about?
I'll mute.
And your facilitator will begin the sharing process using the following protocol. So in your breakout rooms, you will be identifying those individuals and using the Techno Scribe to put those 5 top elements, which Deb has put in the chat, from our high quality CTE cloud. And then I want you to brainstorm ways to support those elements in both a synchronous and an asynchronous approach. Now, you may find that one particular technique supports both. Kudos to you, because that will show you can use the same techniques in face-to-face or virtual, or when you have some students face-to-face and some students virtual at the same time. So I'd like for you to capture your favorite ideas on the chart and then share those when we come back in the larger group setting. So this is what you're going to look at. Techno Scribe, you will need to go to the action agenda, or Deb, you can put that link in here. And you will find the group, you will put in the group number that corresponds with yours. Like if it's group 1, you'll go to first slide. If it's group 6, you'll go to the 6th slide and put in what your group number is. Make certain that it's results for your group. So when you open this is a Google slide. And so you will have several slides that you're seeing. So make certain that if you're group 6, you go to the 6th slide. That's what's important there. Yes, Marty says it's a great video to share with students, transparent to synchronous and asynchronous. And the link to that video is in your action agenda. And Deb has put in the link to this particular activity. So Techno Scribes, get ready to do that. And now we will go into our breakout rooms.
Okay, if there are no questions, once again, Techno Scribes, if you think that you might volunteer to be a Techno Scribe or that you might get voluntold to be a Techno Scribe, go ahead and highlight that link and get ready to copy and paste it, and it'll be an easy way for you to do. But other than that, hold on to the bar. I'm going to send you into Techno World. Okay, I'm gonna put a timer on. You forgot to tell them how much time, so I'll put a timer on for 7. You might want to send out a message.
Yeah, send out a message on that. I'm going to pause the recording.
The beginning management.
I think we should have established that norm as well. I think that this should be something that is talked about and discussed beforehand so that I know not to do that.
So that was a good discussion, and I just got the tail end of it. So just to repeat, the norm is when you're renaming on these slides, don't use somebody else's slide to rename. Is that what it was? They renamed yours?
Yeah.
I think Tim typed in by mistake the great ones, and then I typed in the average.
Yeah, totally.
Isn't it nice to know that we are just like our students, aren't we?
Donna was in there, so it did bring up his average. So
Oh, and I will say that one of the things is to bring humor to the classroom. So thank you both. We
Always
need,
have those two kids you have to watch out for in every
That's
class.
right.
so Tim, I'm sorry that you got your feelings hurt. But yes, we did not establish that norm at the beginning, but you all may implement it from here on. But
I put you with Tim just to keep an eye on him.
I'm glad you all are finding time to have fun with yourself. I mean, have fun with this activity. So thank you. So what I'm sharing with you now are the results from these groups, and you should be able to see them as well. Looks like you all did a great job getting some information entered. So I would like to jump to group 4, the great ones. So let's show how great you are. Whoever is the reporter, share out with us your thoughts, and then we're going to take a short break after this.
So we are the great ones. This is Donna. And Elements of High Quality Virtual CTE, it's organized, it's streamlined. So we have to determine what's critical and focus on that. It has to be highly planned, but you also, you need to know where your students are and what you want your students to do at the end. Always back up your work so that it's accessible, and the education has to be scaffolded, which includes with the foundation of the students knowing how to use their technology tools. Synchronous techniques, we know all of those, Zoom and Teams, but it also should be engaging and keep in mind their attention span, and allows for student interactions. Asynchronous techniques, snow packets, this is great for times when students can't be in school for whatever reason. The videos, it allows for students to watch at their own pace and in their own time, and it also allows them to watch things over and over again at their own schedule. Thank you.
So thank you for sharing, and you did such a great job, Donna, summing this up. The great ones, you were exceptional. We're going to step away, and based upon the time, we're going to take a 5-minute break. So quickly go do what you need to do, and then come back after 5 minutes, and we will move to the next activity. So we're going to set a timer for 5 minutes, and then join us at about 10:30. Thank you.
Hey, Deb, you doing all right today? It looks like you're eating your Wheaties. You're on mute.
Yes, I'm something. Oh, just trying to keep up.
I'm starting to get more and more comfortable with this. I was so uptight back in March when we started Zoom, right? Working with teachers, and you just, oh my God, I can't make a mistake. And the truth is, it's like, how well can I put out fires? Because that's—
In all honesty, they want to see that, Marty. I mean, like, you know, this is just a chance for them to understand that even professionals can mess it up. And it's just an opportunity for them to troubleshoot immediately.
So here's a troubleshoot I learned this morning. I'm trying to log on to my computer, and my Outlook was, it was working offline. So I couldn't access Outlook, which is where the email was that Kathleen sent that had all the links to all these meetings. So I'm going, okay, what do? I restart my computer, I go through the troubleshooting. And then I went, wait a minute, I'll open up my phone, forward her email to my Gmail account, and I opened it up through Gmail. And so, you know, I wrote it down because that whole idea of redundancy, of having a backup plan, because these Zoom breakdowns are going to happen.
Linda, do I need to test that Padlet? Do you have the ability to see her Padlet responses?
We tested last night. We just didn't test the Mentimeter. I wasn't thinking about, she just didn't send me her access thing.
Right. But you have the access to her Padlet, correct?
Yes.
All right. I'm going to run and try to get a cup of coffee very quickly if I can. I'll be right-
Those links are in the agenda. Each individual, she set them up so each.
Yes, I know. I just wanted to make sure that everything was running okay before I got coffee.
Oh yeah, got ya. So Marty,
Yes.
here, I have two screens, and so I see different things. So what do you see?
I see you with the SRAB background. Looks like you got your hair done.
Okay, no.
Looks good.
You should see my presentation.
I do. I see this. I see the presentation as well.
Okay, that's what I wanted to know.
Oh, okay.
So, right now, you see the slides on the left-hand side, and you see the building a game plan.
Did you buy yourself another monitor, or did you have one?
Yeah, I always had another monitor.
I'm gonna purchase one, a big one, because the older I get, I need a. It's funny.
Yeah.
My kids make fun of me because they walk in, and
I'm using just a TV thing. If they have, of course, you have to get that little, I don't know. I've always had it even when I was with Kentucky because, I did so much work from home. So, but it makes it nice. But when you're doing the presentation, sometimes it flips your screen and you don't know if it's screen 2 showing or screen 1.
Gotcha.
So that's what.
So let me ask you this. If you have a split screen, can you have your presentation on one screen and move chat and the participants to the other?
That's what I have. And that's why sometimes it takes me a little longer.
Yeah.
Because I'm on the second screen with my cursor and I have to move to the first screen. And so it just,
I got some positive feedback from Ohio and New York the other day. Was because we have these slight delays, right, where you have to click and move around. They're actually very good because they control your pacing.
You're absolutely right.
I'm guilty. I am really guilty. I drink way too much coffee. So, I get going in these presentations, I get animated, enthusiastic, and it's like, slow down. So I think that'll help me with my pacing.
Well, I have been trying to be intentional about slowing down.
It's training, but it's mostly.
When I get all excited and enthused about these and I want to my pace increases, but then that's not good instruction because then I'm losing them. So how much time do we have? We're just about there, aren't we, Deb?
Oh, we are there.
Yeah. Okay, so everyone.
You want to give everybody a thumbs? Let me see a thumbs up, either by your reactions or just a quick camera on or whatever, so we know that you're back.
So those of you that are not, yes, thank you, David. Those of you that are not sharing your video, if you want to give us a thumbs up with the reaction, that would be great. But we're going to go ahead and move on for time's sake. So the next thing is building a game plan. Thank you for coming back from break. Thus far, you've generated lots of ideas on how each student's going to be provided with high quality CTE. Whether they're at home or sitting in front of you, or whether half of them are with you or synchronously or asynchronously. We're now set up and excited that we're going to build a plan for the rest of the session. So next we have the online, and let me go to the present thing. The next thing we have here, you should, I'm just making my screen larger so it can be seen. Online and blended instruction playbook. On this particular one, just take a moment to read through these slides, and for time's sake, you do have access to all of the slides that are in your in your action agenda. But I want to point out number 2, and this was mentioned, you all mentioned this and the video mentioned it. We must intentionally teach technology. So what's the most important to target in your teaching? Process this question. How will you prioritize your standards? What are your real REAL priorities at the bottom? Readiness, endurance, assessment, leverage. This is a litmus test that you can use to prioritize what you are going to chase. Am I doing the recording? Sorry, just wanted to check. Yes. What you are going to chase with your students. We know that I bet you are going to be focusing on the skills practice. So what I would like to encourage you to do is use your time to your advantage. So if you have students that are coming back, you don't know if you're going to be back for a few days, a week, 2 weeks, a month. You may, they may never have to go back home, but you need to use your time wisely and plan for when you have those students face to face for those actual lab time activities.
Don't forget, I see something in the top corner of that slide. Don't forget about the prizes that could be coming forth on Friday. Top 10 answer there, people. Woohoo!
Oh, thank you, Deb, for reminding us. Yes, this is a top 10 and the video synchronous and asynchronous. That share out was a top 10 as well. Keep in mind, you may want to go back to the PowerPoint and look for your top 10 little icons. Thank you for pointing that out, Deb. So what we want to do is point out to you that planning for virtual takes at least 3 times the amount of planning. Do you remember when you were a first-year teacher? I do, because I worked around the clock. And then the next year, seemed like I was working around the clock. And the third year, it was a little less because I had some planning under my belt that I would go back to. And that's going to be the way this planning for virtual is. At the beginning, I mean, I know it's working us to death, planning virtually, because it's different for us too. So we feel your pain, but then you will have that to use. And keep in the back of your mind, when you're planning for this, think about how can I use this in class as well? Because our students will have that one-to-one with their computers. Now, the next activity, we want you to look at the 5 E's instructional model. And it's a model for safeguarding high quality instruction. We will use this to launch your game plan that we talked about. Whoops, I went backwards, sorry. My little thing's in the way. Okay, with the 5E instructional model, for the next exercise, you'll be required to do some activities using Padlet. Did I go back too far? Hold on. Yeah, okay. So what I would like for you to do is in this exercise, you're going to be required to do some research by either watching a video or reading an article. We had planned for you to do both, but I don't think time's going to allow for that. And those are listed in your agenda in the section labeled number 5. So if you're looking at your agenda, which we are here, you will see in section number 5 how here's the action video and here's the article that you will look up. Here's your articles that you will look like. So you have a couple of videos and a couple of articles.
Linda,
So
might I suggest, since we do have such little time, the one that says 5E instructional model chart is an exceptional one to get a wide gamut in a little bit of time. Just
thank you. Yes, thank you for sharing that. So she's pointed out this is an article that is excellent. Here is the 5E's in action video. You know, sometimes if you're a fast reader, the article's better. If you're not, if you don't like to read, maybe the video will be better for you. But those are in your action agenda. So what I would like for you to do now is to look at those on your own. You're going to be doing it on your own. We're not doing breakout rooms, but look through that, and then we will debrief that. I'll choose 1 or 2 people to debrief what your findings are. So take time to go ahead. You'll need to turn your cameras off. If you don't have to turn your cameras off, but you'll definitely need to mute yourself because if you're playing the video, we'll all hear it.
How much time, Linda?
Let's give them 5-6 minutes. We'll check in on you to watch a video or read the article and take a couple of notes down. Recording here. Kathleen has done a great job in setting these up so that each of you have your own, and she has made them each different. Here you see manufacturing. So the arts and AV and tech and communication, and here's manufacturing. But you will notice they all have the 5 E's, and you will use the bars to scroll out beside of each one. So what I would like to ask you to do in this next activity, you are going to find an E that your group wants to work with. So Padlet is a great tool to use to allow students to interact virtually. Students could even use this tool to keep their journals and include pictures and files of their work, which would be a great resource for students to keep up with and share with their in future interviews. So part of employability skills as well. Today, you're going to be entering information into Padlet the way a student would. So this has been created for you as a teacher would have created one. So in your group, I want you to pick one of the E's. For example, you may want to pick explain. And explain, then you will put in a description. What is explain? And then you will list 2 to 3 high leverage examples or strategies that you will use with the explain E. Do you have any questions? So you're going to unpack the 5 E's when Deb gets ready to send us to our breakout rooms.
I am ready. If you are in a room that you don't think you need to be in, you want to move, just simply pop back in here. On your breakout room, there'll be a button at the bottom right, and it says blue, come back or leave breakout room. Pop back in the main room, tell me, and I'll put you back in where you need to be.
So we are ready.
Marty, they're
back on. So I see everybody is, I think everybody's back with us now. So we're going to pick up since we, just have a few minutes. I just quickly want to call on health science. If they picked engage, can you quickly share with us what you picked, what you did here, one of your high leverage tools that you picked?
We did evaluation. We felt that return demonstration from the students was a way for us to evaluate.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm looking at the Health Science 5E resource Padlet. Sorry, this must be from
Hey, I didn't think about this last night. Can I just fax you those documents?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
So education and training. Did you pick Explore?
We did.
Is it yours that I'm looking at?
It is.
Right.
It is. We talked about a specific lesson pertaining to water rockets, and then the elements of that lesson for exploration with a teacher asking questions and facilitating with online lab assignments and journals. And we really came to the conclusion that it's also okay for, in this phase, that there's no right or wrong answer, is because we have to set the stage for further exploration.
Excellent. And then arts and AV tech and communication, did you pick explain?
Yes, we did.
You wanted to tell us a little bit about what your thought process was there?
Well, we were thinking about how to get information to the students and feedback from them, and talked about using video tutorials, recording lessons and demonstrations to present to them, and then getting student feedback, doing critiques led by the students, things like that.
Great. I see also you have added a high-tech tool in here, Nearpod, for assessment. Great idea. Love it. Great. So that was, I just wanted to share with you, this is how Padlet looks. And you can see from the teacher's perspective, I was able to go in and monitor how you were progressing with your Padlets. So each one of yours, I was able, you can see I have manufacturing, arts, health, education. I have all those pulled up and was monitoring the progress. So that told me when we were able to pull you back out of the breakout room. So the Padlet is a great tool to use where when you put students into breakout rooms, in addition to the Google Slides that we used prior to. But we just wanted to share with you a little bit about that. And so in summing it up here, we have, let me get to the right slide, sorry. Wrapping up today's lesson, we talked about high quality virtual CTE instruction and created a word cloud to summarize our thoughts. And we arrived at some of the most recommended suggestions. And we took a deep dive into the 5 E's using Padlet. So next, what we would like to ask you to do is in the chat, each word that you use in the chat is worth 10 cents. And we want you to enter your dollar's worth in the chat of a summary of today's lesson. They're 10 cents worth 10 cents each. They're valuable words that you get to choose and enter that into the chat. Very good, Bob. Engage, prepare. Oh, he's choosing his words wisely, isn't he? Informative, Jennifer says. While you're thinking about that, I did have a question about a teacher had said that they were having trouble with students changing their backgrounds to inappropriate scenes, you know, and things that were causing controversy. So what I might suggest to you, in Zoom, I do not know of a way to control student screens, but what I suggest to you is with your simulated workplace, the business that your students set up, have them to create a virtual background that all students are required to use. I would encourage this because some students, they may not want to show their camera because they don't want to see others to see their home. Maybe they're not in a setting that, you know, they want others to see what their environment looks like. So creating that virtual background for everyone to use would be nice. If all systems do not accommodate that, because we have some of our SREB people who their system does not allow them to use the SREB virtual background as we're required to use in all of our settings. But if the system, you know, we have a protocol at SREB, but if their system does not allow for that, you can't hold them true to that protocol. So, but our IT people know who can and who can't, I guess. So, but, you know, we run into that from time to time. So we have the same issues that you all do. But that's just a suggestion. We have others coming in. Planning is imperative to keep students engaged. Be prepared. So Jesse, excellent. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 90 cents you're going to be, you would get paid for that. Great job. So we have asynchronous versus synchronous strategies, simulated workplace. So based upon the time, we're going to move ahead. Tomorrow's session is going to be classroom management for your virtual world. Deborah Cullen, that is shared with us today, is going to be your presenter. So thank you, Deb. We look forward to that tomorrow. And Marty.
That's actually this afternoon. Is that?
Oh, sorry.
That's okay. It's this afternoon.
I'm glad you predicted that because I would hate for them to get on tomorrow. And Kathleen and Marty are going to be the ones who assist with that. So, and then we have, we'd just like to thank you all for coming and stay on. If you have any questions, we're going to stay on a few minutes afterward and answer any questions that you might have. Marty, Deb, do you have any last words you'd like to say to the group?
I just want to once again remind them that we are all trying to figure this year out. And once again, this is going to be a very reflective year. So just sit back, try something, try one thing. Don't overwhelm yourself with trying everything. Try one thing that enhances what you already do. Practice it, reflect on it. If it works, great. If it doesn't, try something else. No need to panic. Things will happen wrong. That's okay. West Virginia and West Virginia teachers are some of the most resilient people I have ever met in my entire life. And so you guys are going to be great. Everything's going to be great.
Marty?
I can't top that. It's okay. We've been laughing. We started this work in March as soon as we went into quarantine, and I'm making as many mistakes today as possible, but it's just, that's the way it operates. And I spoke to my brothers and my sister who work in industry, and they have the same problem in industry right now, that they're doing the same thing and they're stumbling through this. It's just going to take time, and that's okay.
Marty, thank you for sharing that, because there is some comfort in knowing we're all in this together. We're all having to adapt to this new climate that has been brought upon us. So I would like to thank each of you for your willingness and your great participation in today's session. You've been a great audience. Don't forget to submit your top 10. Kathleen would appreciate that I'm remembering to remind you to get those top 10s in, and they're due by the last session on Friday. I believe the last session is. So we look forward to seeing you again. I probably will not be with you the rest of the week, but just know that I'm with you in spirit because I love West Virginia. And we're going to stay on. So those of you that have questions, please stay on with us. Throw those questions out to us. If you do not have any questions, you're welcome. You're free to leave, or you may stay on and listen to the questions that are being asked.
Thank you for that, Timothy, by the way. I love that. Bye, everyone. If not, I'll see you this afternoon. Have a great lunch.
Oh, thank you, Tim. Yes, a high school musical cast. We're all in this together. Oh, wouldn't that be a fun skit for us to all do? Love that one.
I think it's time. Yes, we're going to have to bring out some skits. Yeah, Marty, and you're going to be front runner. Connie, I'm so glad to see you, darling. I've missed you.
No skits.
I'll say, wait a minute, let me unmute. I had so much background stuff going on here. I miss you a lot, Deb. I really do.
So good
Hugs
to see
to you. It's so good to see you.
You too, darling.
All right, darling. See you later.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Maybe travel will not be so cumbersome and we can all get to West Virginia and meet this great group in person.
That would be awesome. That would be awesome.
No matter what.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
I mean, no, I will not defy laws. I'm sorry.
All right.
Okay, so anybody left on here have any questions, or people just?
So if you have any questions, if you can enter it into the chat. If you feel, if you if your mic's not working, or go ahead and just speak up now, or forever hold your peace until this afternoon anyway.
Until this afternoon.
It looks like we don't have any questions, so I'm taking that as we did such a great job that there are no questions. Everything's clear as mud to them, I'm sure.
There's nothing like a good rationalization every day.
That's exactly right.
Yep.
That's exactly how I've gotten by 48 years.
I'm glad I'm